What's going on, guys? So we got a new video talking about the Asgard Divide collab. Well, the Asgard Divide basically event. Now, in this video, I'm not going to watch it because you guys can go watch it 6 minutes and 43 seconds. I'm not going to waste your time. Essentially, what it's going over is how we're going to get the new champions. Now, the first one, Loki, being the free login champion, pretty simple. You log in, you get the champion. Excellent. We'll test them out when we actually get him. The next champion being Thor, they mentioned that he is going to be available from events for summoning.
Self-buffing himself with increased attack.
But after this, they mentioned that Freyja is going to be available as soon as the event starts. I'm not for sure why they clarify that versus with Thor. So it makes me think that Thor may be available in like a guaranteed event or something different. Though all these champions are going to be available from shards after this event's over either way, so it's not going to be as exclusive as the Monster Hunter event. But I would still imagine that there's going to be some champion training tournaments for this, some maybe a guaranteed event or a deck of fate or whatever those events are. I'm sure there's going to be other ways to get these champions. So when they have a 10x event, a progressive chance event, possibly, don't think this is your only chance to ever get these champions, because there's probably going to be other ways. But Thor, you can get him from summoning events, and then Freyja from summoning events, and then Odin is going to be from specific summon events. Listen to this.
This Titanic warrior can only be summoned via special summon events during the Asgard Divide. So
can only be summoned during special summon events during the Asgard Divide. But
one eye open. Get it? One eye? Oh, he'll also be the boss of the new limited time event dungeon.
It says
on any battlefield, Freyja Fate Weaver will be available to summon from shards as soon as the Asgard Divide event starts. No need to wait. Go grab this defense powerhouse and protect your team with some divine foresight. And no event themed around Norse mythology will be complete without the one-eyed wanderer himself, Odin Faefather. This Titanic warrior can only be summoned via special summon events during the Asgard Divide. So keep one eye open. Get it? One eye? Oh, he'll also be the boss of the new limited time event dungeon, and he'll join the regular summon pool once the event dungeon is closed. Event dungeon? I hear you cry.
He'll what?
This Titanic warrior can only be summoned via special summon events during the Asgard Divide, so keep one eye open. Get it? Okay. One eye? Oh, he'll also be the boss of the new limited time event dungeon, and he'll join the regular summon pool once the event dungeon is closed.
So it says he can only be summoned during the Asgard Divide event, but he'll join the regular summon pool once the event dungeon's closed. So those, unless I'm misunderstanding something, those don't make sense together. He's only going to be available during the special summon event. Maybe it's just during this Asgard Divide event, but all the champions are going to be available in the regular summon pool. Not really sure. May need some more clarification there. But when we get into this event dungeon, this is what makes me kind of really just not honestly excited for this event at all. Because first up, we've got energy. Now, this may be a complaint point for a lot of players, but to be honest, energy spent now is really not going to dungeon content. Like all these dungeons, basically I'm not farming those for the gear because Sand Devil and Shogun is just really where I go. But this requiring energy, like it could be looked at as a good thing or a bad thing. Requiring energy means that you can get more gear potentially than if it was just keys, but it also means that players who are going to spend a lot of money are going to have a significant advantage until you see what is dropped, and this completely changes everything. So if this was like Savage, Regeneration, Speed, maybe Reflex, and Provoke or Cursed, that'd be a different situation. But these are some of the worst sets. Crit damage being one that's relatively used, but crit rate is horrible. Accuracy is awful. Curing, we're not using that. And daze is horrible as well. Crit damage is the only one that's arguably useful. And then pinpoint at the very bottom. But pinpoint is the one you're wanting to farm for. I don't think I'm going to be spending thousands of energy for the chance of getting pinpoint. If it's an equal chance to everything else, this is just a horrible setup for this dungeon, honestly. Which means you're gonna have to spend so much energy to actually get this set. They may release it in a Forge Pass. I hope they do for an even chance at getting good stuff. But at this rate, this event dungeon's not exciting whatsoever. So the champions are coming out. The event dungeon's just not exciting. The event itself could be cool, but why would you even run it? If these are the artifacts you're gonna be getting, it seems basically pointless to even consider running this. The pinpoint set is pretty good, but there's a big issue with it as well. The pinpoint set isn't protected. So while you're going to be able to block sheep, you can place your debuffs, all that kind of good stuff, this is not protected. So Wukong can just rip that off of people, no problem. You can strip that off of somebody. You could steal it from somebody, not a problem. So the champion is used on. That's going to make some more champions a little bit more relevant, like Ramen 2. You can make him fast and pinpoint set, have him place the polymorph, go first. You have your Kymar, so it's going to open up some new things, and I think that's going to be awesome, but it's not going to go on a damage dealer. Sun Wukong built fast with accuracy, that could make sense, but in general, the set not being protected means that the builds you're going to do are basically only fast builds. You're not really going to be able to do a slow build, which may be okay. It's still going to be great for debuff champions. I like that idea. I like the pinpoint set. Pinpoint set itself seems solid. But if the main method of getting it is through a dungeon that has horrible gear sets or a forge pass, which not everybody buys that, I don't really know how much I'm looking forward to this event, honestly. It's not going to be great. I don't see it being very well received. The champions themselves, if they take the same approach like they did with the Monster Hunter event, saying that these champions are available in the shards only, but then they have events like Deck of Fate, various different events where you can get these champions, especially if they front load it with, say, 10x, 15x, progressive chance events, maybe even a prism pool for these champions. And then all of a sudden, hey, these are some ways you can get it for a much lower cost. It's going to be this similar response as what the Monster Hunter event was with like champions like the Archer, who players had to do the champion training for. If you won, great. If not, you had a lot of disgruntled players. Now, we're going to take a look at the two champions that were just released today as far as the skills go. Let's look at Freyja first. So Freyja Fate Weaver. First hit is an AoE, chance of placing provoke, counterattacks with this skill when a shield buff is placed by this champion is removed by damage. The A2 places a 60% increased defense buff on all allies for 2 turns. Also places shield buff on all allies for 2 turns. The value of the shield is proportional to this champion's defense and each target champion's max HP. So a pretty good sized shield. 3-turn cooldown, some good stuff. Increased defense plus a shield. I like that. The A3 ability is a cleanse and block debuffs for 2 turns and a turn meter boost. Also pretty good. The passive is increases this champion's defense by 5% each time an ally inflicts a critical hit. Going to be pretty easy to do. And then the active effect, you guys can't really see this very well. I'll move this over. Active effect is going to prevent the death of an ally with the highest crit damage except this champion. So maybe she can nuke. Kind of doubt it, but possibly. Keeps them alive with 1 HP when hit with a fatal hit. If there are multiple champions on the team with his skill, this effect will only activate once. Then heals that ally by 20% of their max HP and activates instant turn. That's cool. Seems like a solid champion. It seems fairly limited on what champions bring increased defense, honestly. There's some really good ones, but when looking through this, I feel like there's not a ton of increased defense champions. Like I have a lot on my account, but not for like all situations. So I think increased defense is a solid buff to have. It helps your survivability, especially if the champion brings other things that are very beneficial in their kit. Now let's take a look at Odin. He's going to be the boss as well, so maybe the skills are the same, not for sure. But his A1 ability is going to place Berserk. Now Berserk, if I'm correct, I believe this increases the damage you deal and receive by 50%. So it's like a weekend on steroids, but you're also going to be taking some more damage as well. So places a Berserk debuff for 2 turns. This debuff cannot be placed on a boss. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. We don't know if we have Berserk in the game just yet. There's a way you can check this out. I forget where to go, honestly. I think it's in the FAQ section, but I'm pretty sure that is what Berserk does. It may just be on the test server. You could check out another time, but you're going to get the Berserk from Odin. His A2 ability is going to be removes all buffs from all enemies. So a strip, 80% chance of placing decreased defense, debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. Also a chance of placing stun, debuff on all enemies for 1 turn, books up to 100%. So an AoE stun and decreased defense on a 3-turn cooldown. It's a really solid skill on the A2 ability. Also a strip, so a strip, decreased defense, and stun. And get him in a pinpoint set, could be a very solid setup. His A3 attacks 1 enemy. Before attacking, steals all buffs from the target. The damage inflicted by this skill depends on the target's type. Attack will inflict damage based on the target's attack. Defense will inflict damage based on the target's defense. HP support boss will inflict damage based on the target's max HP. So it could be a good max HP champion for something like Hydra. This attack will ignore 100% of the target's defense. If a target was killed by the skill, revives a random dead ally with 50% HP and 50% turn meter. That seems like a potentially pretty cool skill that doesn't require him being built as a damage dealer. So he could have some damage utility without having to be built as a damage dealer. Just have him fast, and this is something you got to worry about. And then every 9 turns, which is quite a long battle, places a block damage buff on this champion for 1 turn, and also applies a buff spread effect, taking all buffs from his champion and placing them on all allies. So this could maybe be good for something like the Wixwell teams, possibly. Maybe. I'm not really sure how you get it to work, because every 9 turns, that's quite a long duration. So like the arena, it's probably not going to do that much. But for the Hydra, maybe. If it's every 9 turns of him, or if it's every 9 turns of a team, it's a very different thing, actually. If it's like Wukong, that's actually hugely different. If it's just every 9 turns that are taken, enemies or him, how's some Wukong's worded? Because that's very similar, actually. Let's see. Sun Wukong, Raza's champion with 100% turn meter at 3 turns after they were killed. So maybe you could actually build him like super slow, have him in 6-piece stone skin, and then when people take in turns, eventually he's just going to spread the stone skin to everybody. Would that be the case? Could you have 9 turns total taken before he took a turn? So like UDK 2.0? Maybe. That could be crazy. You'd have everybody on your team get in stone skin, potentially, assuming it wasn't stripped from him. And then increases Void ally speed in arena battles by 40%. Now this is really, really solid, especially when you consider that the top champions are Void. Well, other than Mythicals. Mythicals, not all of them are, most of them are not Void. Actually, are there really any mythical Void champions? I don't think there is. But like the top arena champions, Narses and Korra, these ones, there's a lot of them who are Void. Sifis, a lot of Taras and Marichka, both Void. So there's a lot of Void options, and Korra's not Void, she's magic. There's a lot of Void champions where you could boost their speed up quite a bit. So especially if you're able to even get him. So it was a cool kit. I think he's going to be a really solid champion. I would love to get him, but I don't know how it's going to be to actually achieve him. The way the champions are earned, it seems like they're possibly holding things back like they did with the Monster Hunter event. Because I imagine there's going to be more than just, hey, open some shards, get these champs. There's got to be more than that, right? But either way, this event's coming out very soon. I'm not looking forward to the dungeon. If it's just horrible gear, I'm not going to do it. I would just buy the Forge Pass, not even worry about the dungeon. But that's not good for free-to-play players. You have a new event dungeon, it could be amazing. The dungeon could be awesome. The dungeon could be so fun. But the thing is that if the rewards are what they say it's going to be, well, nobody's going to do it. Why would you waste your energy with a chance? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 out of 6 chance of getting pinpoint. That's just nasty. Nobody's going to do that. So you guys let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Best of luck in this dungeon. I'm looking forward to climbing the stages. Like, I'll do that for sure. For the farming, they really need to fix this. I think honestly, actually, I may not even climb it if that's the case. If it's in the Forge Pass, I'll just buy the Forge Pass and not even do this stuff. Not even do these shenanigans. Because I would love to do this, but there's no reason to waste it on the worst sets possible. Like, throw in Savage Regeneration. It makes it somewhat more enticing. Savage Regeneration and Cursed. Leave in some of this garbage stuff because Plarium wants, some RNG, but get rid of everything else. I don't know. Actually, no, I do know. This is horrible. So you guys let me know what you think. Appreciate you guys watching to this point of the video. Thank y'all very much, and I'll catch you in the next one.